What's up, Broncos country? Brace yourselves, because what I'm about to tell you might make your stomach drop. Wednesday came, and with it came that news every Denver Broncos family was afraid to hear. The medical report is out, and, man, it's not looking good at all. 3 starters, folks. 3, and we haven't even reached Thursday yet. Remember when I said this season would be different? That we'd finally have a competitive team? Well, the universe is testing our faith right in week 2. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to explain exactly what's happening, the impact this could have on our game against Indianapolis, and most importantly, I'm going to say what nobody else is having the courage to say about this whole situation. Spoiler, it's not just about injuries, it's about something much bigger that could define our entire season. Look, family, let's start with the basics. This Sunday, we have the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium, a team that's also won that dropped 29-17 on the Miami Dolphins last week. Daniel Jones played really well there, something we definitely don't want to see repeated against our defense. But here's the problem, and pay attention, because this is serious. Wednesday's medical report brought 3 names that make any Denver Broncos fan lose sleep: Dre Greenlaw, John Franklin Myers, and Evan Engram. Let's break it down because each of these guys represents a fundamental piece in our puzzle. And when I say fundamental, I'm not exaggerating one bit. First, Dre Greenlaw. Man, this linebacker came here with a mission: transform our defense into an impenetrable wall. The man didn't even step on the practice field on Wednesday. Complete DNP, folks. And you know what it means when a player doesn't practice midweek, especially when we have a game on Sunday. The situation gets even more complicated when we remember that Justin Sternad had to come in last week, and let's be honest, did what he could. It wasn't bad, but it also wasn't what we expected from a defense that wants to compete toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs, with the Buffalo Bills, with those teams that are up there in the conference. Now, John Franklin Myers, defensive end with a knee problem. Folks, knee is something way too serious in football. It's not like those injuries where the guy takes some medicine and comes running back. Knee compromises explosion, compromises mobility, compromises everything a pass rusher needs to be effective. Franklin Myers is our guy for quarterback pressure. He's the one who needs to bother Daniel Jones on Sunday. He's the one who needs to make Anthony Richardson, if he plays, think twice before holding the ball too long. Without him, our defensive line loses a crucial piece, and then Daniel Jones will have all the time in the world to find his receivers. And Evan Engram? Man, here the situation gets truly dramatic. Calf injury, practice limited. But do you know what this represents? Engram was our only significant signing at the tight end position in the offseason. Let me be very clear here. Denver Broncos didn't draft any tight end this season. 0. In a class that had several interesting options, our organization simply decided to trust everything to Evan Engram. Now he's hurt, and our depth at the position is practically non-existent. Caleb Lohner is on the practice squad, but folks, the guy is a former basketball player. I'm not diminishing his talent, but there's a brutal difference between playing college basketball and blocking 265-pound linebackers running 20 bars puishwood in your direction. Tell me, Broncos country, are you worried about this whole situation? Because I confess I'm losing sleep here. Week 2 of the season, and we already have 3 starters in the medical department. And look, there's still Nate Adkins, who's also a tight end and is in the same situation. The guy is underestimated by the sports media, but anyone who follows practice knows his importance in our offensive system. The thing is, Indianapolis isn't just any team. Anthony Richardson might not play, but Daniel Jones showed last week that he's ready. Jonathan Taylor running as always, receivers who know how to show up at the right time. It's not an opponent to mess around with, especially with our roster decimated. Between us, Denver Broncos family, I'm going to say something that might be controversial. Our preparation for injuries this year was questionable at best. How do we enter a season with high expectations and don't have decent backups at key positions? Tight end is a classic example. Position coach knew the importance of the position. Management knew it. Everybody knew it. Even so, they put all their chips on one player. Now Engram hurts his calf and we're in a very complicated situation. Defense too. Dre Greenlaw came here already with a small injury history. Wouldn't it have been prudent to have developed more depth at the position? Justin Sternad is a good player, but is he enough to face the best teams in the AFC? Hey, if you're true Broncos country and want to stay on top of everything that goes on with our team, hit that notification bell. Because every time a medical report comes out, every time there's news about our players, I come here first to talk to you guys. Don't let it slip, folks. But let's go beyond the injuries, family. Let's talk about what this represents for our season project. Denver Broncos had a clear plan. Start strong, gain confidence, fight for playoffs from the beginning. Week 1 was that somewhat struggling, somewhat messy victory. But a victory. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, thinking, at least we started 1-0. Now, Week 2, reality knocks on the door with full force. Indianapolis playing at home, with the crowd pushing, with a quarterback who could surprise. And us? We're going there without 3 fundamental starters, hoping the guys can come back by Sunday. Thursday and Friday are going to be crucial, folks. If Greenlaw, Franklin Myers, and Ingram don't practice those days, then we can go into total panic mode. Because DNP on Wednesday is concerning, DNP on Thursday is alarming, DNP on Friday is disastrous. Coach needs to have plan B, C, and even D for each position. Can't get to Indianapolis depending on a medical miracle. Football is a contact sport. Injuries happen. It's part of it. But you have to be prepared. Sean Payton is certainly racking his brain to find solutions. The guy's a good coach, has experience, knows how to deal with adversity. But even the best coach in the world needs healthy players to execute the game plan. Offensively, without Ingram, our passing game is limited. Tight end is a position that opens up the field, that creates mismatches, that gives the quarterback a safe option on third downs. Without that, the opposing defense can focus more on wide receivers, can pressure more, can complicate our lives. Defensively, without Greenlaw and Franklin Myers, we're vulnerable against both run and pass. Linebacker is the brain of the defense. Defensive end is the quarterback pressure. Taking out these 2 pieces is like taking the engine out of a car. So, Broncos country, how do you evaluate our depth? Do you think management did a good job in the offseason preparing the roster for situations like this? Because I have my doubts, and I'm not afraid to say it. Look, family, I'm going to be realistic here. If these 3 players don't come back by Sunday, we're going to have to rethink expectations for the game against Indianapolis. I'm not talking about giving up, never. Broncos country never gives up on anything, but we have to be smart in our analysis. Playing on the road with a decimated roster against a team that's flying high, way too complicated a recipe. It's going to require perfect performance from the players who are on the field. Bo Nix is going to have to be even more precise. Running game is going to have to work without ideal protection from tight ends. Defense is going to have to compensate for absences with grit and tactical intelligence. And here's an important reflection. Maybe this adversity is exactly what our team needs to grow. Great teams are forged in difficult moments. Chiefs didn't become a dynasty by winning easy. Patriots didn't dominate for 2 decades without facing obstacles. Who knows if this whole situation doesn't awaken something special in our roster? Who knows if the backups don't surprise positively? Who knows if we come out of Indianapolis even more united and determined? Justin Sternad might have the chance of his lifetime. Caleb Lohner might show that the transition from basketball to football was successful. Other defensive ends might step up and show their worth, but let's be serious about the bigger impact of this situation. If these injuries extend, if they're not just Week 2 issues, then we have a structural problem. NFL season is a marathon, not a sprint. 17 regular games, playoffs hopefully every week matters. Can't go 3-4 weeks with a decimated roster and expect to compete at the highest level. Management is going to have to be creative. Waivers, practice squad, maybe even trades if the situation gets worse. Because the Denver Broncos family deserves a competitive team, deserves to fight for playoffs, deserves to dream big. Sean Payton is also going to have to show why he was hired. Great coaches do more with less. Great coaches find solutions where others see only problems. It's time for him to prove his worth. And players who are healthy, time to step up. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Patrick Surtain, these guys need to carry the team on their backs if necessary. Leadership shows itself in moments like this. So, Denver Broncos family, what would you do if you were management? Would you go after reinforcements in the free agent market? Would you bet on the practice squad kids? Or would you trust completely in the recovery of the injured? I know it's hard to see our team facing adversity right at the beginning of the season. But that's it, folks. Broncos country never gives up. We'll keep supporting, we'll keep cheering, we'll keep believing, because one thing I guarantee you, teams that overcome adversity early in the season usually get stronger for the decisive moment. And the decisive moment is coming, family. Leave in the comments what you think about this whole situation. Are you worried? Optimistic? Nervous? I want to know the opinion of everyone in the Denver Broncos family. Smash that. If you want more content like this, deep analysis about everything that happens with our team. Share with that friend who's also Broncos country and needs to stay on top of everything. And most importantly, don't forget to hit the bell to not miss any updates. Because every time there's news about Greenlaw, Franklin Myers, Engram, any player on our roster, I come here first to share with you. Thursday has another medical report. Friday too. And I'll be here, analyzing every detail, every piece of information, every clue about what might happen on Sunday against Indianapolis. Broncos country until the next video. And remember, adversity doesn't define a team. Response to adversity is what defines character. Our team has character to spare. Let's prove it on Sunday. Go Broncos!